Okay, guys. So, discussion A today deals with handling grief. Okay. The text is, the title is, Let's Talk About Our Grief, explores the uh, social, societal norms and challenges. Okay. Surrounding grief, particularly in the United States, it highlights how grief has become a private and often silenced experience, contrasting this with earlier practices like wearing mourning clothes or using black uh, to be boarded stationery to openly express loss. This article critiques the pressure to move on quickly and the misconception of Elizabeth Kubler-Ross five stages of grief, which were originally about terminally ill individuals, not a universal grieving process. The author shares personal experiences such as struggling with societal expectations after the loss of a loved one and emphasizes the need for more empathetic and open. Okay. Yep. It. Give me a minute, guys. Stuck together. Needs one done. Okay. Approach to grief. This piece advocates for reframing grief as a shared human experience rather than a private burden, encouraging conversations and support systems that the valid acknowledge and validate the pain of loss. Societal norms surrounding grief vary widely across cultures and time periods, shaping how individuals express and process their emotions. Here are some key aspects. Cultural expectations. In many Western societies, grief is often seen as a private journey. People are encouraged to seek therapy or join support groups, but public displays of grief are typically brief and less formal. In contrast, some Eastern cultures emphasize collective mourning, where communities come together. Communities come together. Hold on. To honor the deceased through rituals and ceremonies, rituals and traditions. Mourning practices can include wearing specific clothing, holding ceremonies, or observing periods of silence. For example, In Mexico, the Day of the Dead celebrates the lives of the deceased with altars, food, and festivities, reflecting a view of death as a transition rather than an end. Emotional expression. In some cultures, open displays of grief, such as crying or wailing, are expected and considered a necessary part of mourning. In others, emotional restraint is valued, and individuals may grieve in solitude. Support systems. The way people support those who are grieving also differs from in some cultures. Impact and support. Spending time together without discussing grief is common, while others rely on uh, explicit emotional support, such as sharing feelings and offering verbal comfort. Modern shifts. Over time, societal norms have evolved in the past practices like wearing mourning clothes or using black bordered stationery were common in Western cultures. Signal grief. Today, there is often pressure to move on quickly, which can make grieving feel isolating. Understanding these norms can help foster empathy and provide better support for those navigating loss. If you'd like, I can delve deeper into specific cultural practices or historical changes in mourning traditions. Hold on. Guys. Next page. Supporting someone who is grieving requires empathy, patience, and understanding. Here are some effective ways to provide comfort. Be present. Sometimes just being there is enough. Offer a listening ear without trying to fix their pain or offer solutions. Acknowledge their loss. Mention the deceased by name and share memories if appropriate. This shows that this shows that their loved one is not forgotten. Avoid glitches. Phrases like they're in a better place or everything happens for a reason can feel dismissive. Instead, say something like I'm here for you or I can't imagine how hard it must be. Offer practical help. Grieving individuals Grieving individuals may struggle with daily tasks. Offer specific hold on. assistance. Offer specific assistance like cooking meals, running errands, or helping with childcare. Respect their process. Everyone grieves differently. Some may want to talk, while others may just need space. Let them guide the interaction. Check in regularly. Grief doesn't have a timeline. Continue to check in weeks or months later, as support often dwindles after the initial loss. Encourage professional help if they seem overwhelmed. Gently suggest speaking with a counselor or joining a support group. Be patient. Grief can resurface unexpectedly. Be understanding if they have good days and bad days. Okay. Your presence and kindness can make a world of difference. If you'd like, I can share more detailed advice or examples. When supporting someone who is grieving, it's important to approach with sensitivity and avoid actions or words that might unintentionally cause harm. Here are some things to steer clear of. Avoid tchotchkes, phrases like they're in a better place or everything happens for a reason. Uh, can feel dismissive. Instead, acknowledge their pain with sincerity. Okay, don't minimize their loss. Avoid saying things like, at least they lived a long life, or it could be worse. Grief is personal, and uh, comparisons can uh, invalidate their feelings. Refrain from grieving timelines. Statements like, you should be over it by now, or it's time to move on. Uh, impose unrealistic expectations. Grief has no set timeline. Okay. Grief has no set timeline. Uh, don't avoid the topic, ignoring their loss out of fear of upsetting them can make them feel isolated. It's okay to talk about their loved one. They seemed open to it. Avoid making it about yourself while sharing your own experiences. Can sometimes help. Be cautious not to shift the focus away from their feelings. Don't try to fix it. Grief isn't something that can be fixed. Offering solutions or trying to cheer them up might come across as dismissive or of their emotions. Avoid judging their grief. Everyone grieves differently. Avoid comments like you should be crying more or you shouldn't cry so much. Don't force them to talk while being available to listen. It's important to respect their needs or for space. They aren't ready to open up. By being mindful of these points, you can create a supportive and compassionate environment for someone navigating their grief. If you'd like, I can share more about how to offer meaningful support. Okay, guys, so that's A for this afternoon. I'll be back on with B shortly. Give me a little bit for B, please, and I'll be back on with you. For now, Gator Wellness, take care, folks.